Welcome back to the Rush Hour with Gus, Jude and Wendell. And this is our Hero, Highlight and Hardship podcast. And this week we're very, very privileged to have Luke Ricketson, a one club man, my club, the Roosters, Jude's club, the Roosters, won competitions, absolute legend. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Gussie. Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Oh, mate, it's absolutely fantastic to have you on. And I've got to say, you've always been one of the best looking blokes, full stop. But you look like you've kept yourself in good shape.
Sort of, mate. It's hard. I turned 50 in February, so
Okay.
So I think on the day that I turned 50, I did my Achilles. My arthritis was kicking into the back of the knees.
So you felt every bit
of 50. So
the day you turned 50,
the day I
did your
turned 50, I
Achilles?
did my Achilles. Yeah. So
Were you going for a run or what happened?
I was training in the morning, so partial tear, and then couldn't walk the next day.
But straight into a long lunch as well.
Well, long lunch on the day, yeah. Then the next day couldn't walk, so I didn't learn at all, Jude. Yeah.
Let's talk about the first part of the podcast, and that's the hero side. Growing up, whether it's on the field or off the field, who's your hero?
Yeah, okay. Obviously, it's with the with sport and rugby league. So I was a huge Wayne Pearce fan as a young kid. Backyard footy. You know, you always sort of put your hand up to be a player, and I always wanted to be Wayne Pearce. And so like he was a complete hero, and then obviously followed the Tigers through those awful defeats, and then through Origin. So obviously, supported Wayne Pearce when he used to tape his head up and do the big leg kicks and get out and do his best for New South Wales. So he was definitely a hero of mine growing up.
Do you remember the first time you actually met him?
I do actually. There was a he made the Kangaroo Tour, and I was playing for Bondi United down there at the eastern suburbs, and we had a he must have been on the circuit doing a few little chats to rugby league clubs, and I probably was. Might have been 8 or 9 years of age, and he was at the Bondi Icebergs.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I know that place.
I've seen there a few times, Wendell. And that certainly wasn't doing inspirational talks to young kids. Might have been younger, but and he did a talk, and I asked a question when he scored a great try for the Kangaroos on tour, and asked him how did he feel for scoring that try. And
amazing.
Were you a bit nervous asking the question?
You know what? I can't remember yesterday, but I actually can remember that moment really well, sitting there looking at my hero, asking him a question about scoring a try. So
very cool.
Yeah. And I understand, like when you meet your heroes and that, you want to sort of you want to idolize, you want to get there and you want to play Winfield Cup or NRL. So when you got to start for the Roosters, obviously Bondi United boy, followed your career, played against you. What did that feel like when you got your first Roosters jersey?
Well, it's funny, Del. I mean, as we all know, I think I started out just wanting to play in the 21s. So I had no thought about playing first grade as a young 17 or 18-year-old. Would have loved to have, but, at that time, putting on, I think, number 31, I think it was my jumper. So I was a centre back there in President's Cup. And then, look, it's dreams, right? It all just falls into place. And I always think there's a bit of luck involved in that. Maybe not for you, Del. You're always going to be a superstar. But I find in other careers, I think I had some extreme luck through the period, and obviously I enjoyed training, and I always was loved being pretty fit, and the game changed through that period, through those early 90s, and it suited the bash and barge went, and the big overweight front rowers sort of fell out of the game, so I was able to make a career. I think that's how it worked for me.
So you're playing for the Roosters, and I'm assuming the highlight comes at the back end of 2002, but I might. What actually was the highlight for you?
You've bang on there, Jesse. Yeah.
What a night.
Yeah. Look, I think, and we spoke about other superstars that never won a grand final and how tough that would be because you play first grade for a long period of time, and that's just the peak of anything you do. It's very hard to explain, winning a grand final. It's sort of, I was thinking about it on the way in because I knew I was going to ask a few questions, and I remember leaving the ground, and then we sort of got in the team bus to go back to the stadium where we got on a double-decker bus, and it was an outdoor bus.
Yeah.
We're going to go back into Bondi Junction, and that was the first time I had time to think about it, and just sat on the back of the bus, sort of heading into Spring Street, and we're sort of just looking at the blokes, just saying we've won a grand final, and little moments you have when you do it, and It's incredible to get that opportunity.
It brings so many people together when you win a comp like that. Like I know too. And I mean, who can you remember coming along on the journey? It might have been someone working at the club or some of the fans back at the Leagues Club in Bondi Junction there?
Yeah, well, it was funny because back in 2000 against the great Bronco team, I remember had to bring in Dell, so
See you he always goes, see you later, Matty Singh. See you, Freddie Fowler, on his way to the try line. And I keep saying Luke Phillips should have been man of the match for the losing team.
We hung in there as long as we could, but we almost had a ticker tape parade that week at Bondi Junction in 2000.
Yeah.
So we celebrated early just getting there.
You beat Newcastle, didn't you?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
I think Freddie took an intercept or something.
Correct. So
And in 2002, you beat the Broncos to get into the grand final.
Yes.
Yeah, I was in rugby then, that's why. But I was,
That was an incredible night at the SFS.
Correct.
And Mullins played that wonderful sort of three-quarter of a season after Ricky got him back from Leeds. And
yes.
he was a revelation.
Revelation, yeah.
He could finish, couldn't he?
He was great. Yeah, I mean, he obviously in the grand final, did some pretty cool things. But look, I think it was, it was a matter of, I mean, everyone came for the ride. I mean, Ronnie Palmer was a good one.
Champion. Love Ronnie Palmer. Mr. Cougar.
I had him, as a sort of a 17 or 18-year-old, and to have my whole journey as a, strength and conditioning coach, right, is with you for that whole period of time, embracing him on the field. All those little things was great. I remember, Fitzy, there was another good moment with me and Craig Fitzgibbon. We,
Champion.
I remember doing the lap of honour and Alex Lloyd, that song, You Are Amazing.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and we started singing You're Amazing. I said, You're amazing. He said, You're amazing. So when that song comes on, weirdly enough, I sit in the car and have a little moment to myself.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think, well, that's another little...
The grand final itself, absolutely dominated it. And then all of a sudden, Stacey Jones does what Stacey Jones does.
Oh, mate.
Gets the Warriors into the lead. And they start like, how's this team even close? And then Villasanti makes a real error to go and take out Freddie Fittler. And from that moment, the 40-20, and you guys went bang, 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 all over. Like that last 20 minutes must have been like a dream.
Yeah, I think there's all little crazy things that happen in a game that change the momentum. And, we went into halftime behind. Stacey Jones obviously scored that incredible try, and you thought they're capable of doing this. They had players that could just turn a game. And Johnny Cartwright was our assistant coach at the time, Big Hoss. And he pulled the forwards aside and said, this is slipping away from you. Like literally, let's all have a minute. You're gonna lose this game if something doesn't change. And we were shell-shocked, and it was the Villasanti moment that actually clicked it into gear for us. And we didn't look back after that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Over 300 games for the Chooks. I mean, you sit there and look at any career, and it's not always, smooth sailing. What was your hardship over the journey, either on the field or away from it?
Yeah, once again, I was pretty lucky with injury and just being part of a really good organisation for that period of time. I think my hardship moment was getting suspended for the grand final in 2004. Totally my fault. And, and every time somebody gets suspended for a grand final, I get a phone call from the press going, what would you do? And I say, just, let them play and just, suspend them at the end of it. But
For sure.
But I never forget trying to defend, it was a semi-final against the Cowboys. And I hit Nathan Feen. It wasn't great.
Fancy.
And it wasn't great.
It wasn't great. I knew it was coming. Yeah. And then we said, well, go and defend it anyway. And we got there and they said, after 2 minutes, 4 weeks, get out of the room, basically.
Oh, wow.
And I came back into the group and said, I just can't be part of this. So it was just really just depressing, we had the success of 2002. The Panthers got us in 3. Which I thought that was our one to win. And then we thought, no, we got the Dogs in 4. It's Freddie's last game.
Of course, and the Dogs had sort of had their points stripped down.
So
this was all the comeback, wasn't it?
It was all there, and I had
rematch.
To sit that one out. So that was, as a career, that was my low light for sure.
Speaking of teammates and low lights and that, I work with a bloke called Brian Fletcher, a real good mate of yours. He calls you Luke Waterhouse.
Yes, correct.
Fletch, mate, I know I can be hard work, but Fletch can be hard work too, can't he, sometimes?
He calls me many things.
Yeah.
Phil. Look, there's a funny thing with Fletch. I mean, and Dill, you got it as well. I think you know, like in a team, you need the joker, right?
Yeah.
You need the fun, energetic sort of guy in your footy team. And obviously it's good if they can play as well.
Yeah.
So Fletch was that. And we had that moment when we'd won the grand final and he was got to squeeze their salary cap a bit. I never forget going, we had a chat to Sticky and said, look, we're happy to take some sort of reduction of money to try and keep at the club because he was the gel for all of us. And for him to go off to South Sydney and have that sort of checkered next few years for Fletch wasn't a great way for him to sort of bow out of the NRL. I know he went off to Wigan and did quite well there, but great mate. We both grew up in the eastern suburbs, Bondi lad. Still good mates, very, very funny. He's very dangerous as well, as you know.
Yeah, I know.
Good company. Good company.
Yeah, you just got to know when to fold him for Fletch. You know?
Yeah.
Speaking of dangerous, I'm not sure the boys know, but I used to give Rico a call because I'd have to manage the Mad Mondays for the Sydney Swans at times. And I'd give Rico a call because you don't own pubs and things like that. I'd say, Rico, is there any chance we can potentially host the Swannies boys? And Rico would always look after us. I think you're witness to a few crazy scenes over the time.
You know what? We've done Mad Mondays before, right, in rugby league, but I tell you what, the Swannies.
Yeah.
I think what it was, I looked back at it and I thought you guys got sort of locked up for no drinking for that period of time. You sort of focus in on the finals where we let our hair down a bit on the way through.
You're right.
But their rules and regulations around being at a pub at 10 o'clock, anyone past 10 o'clock, there was tequila shots and you had that.
Ruthless.
You know, you had someone doing a roll call and it was like 3 schooners and you basically had to drink.
That was a minimum generally.
Well, that was just on the roll call, and if you didn't drink them, the rest was on your head. So that wasn't really good for the carpet at a pub, put it that way. And anyway, we won't go into the rest of that.
Yeah.
It was
a lot of fun.
Fun times.
Rico, I did mention, I think I said it was your big moment, obviously 2002. But what about this one? Breaking the record held by club legend Kevin Hastings in terms of most appearances for the club. Can you remember the lead up to that game? Do you remember the game itself? And how did you go? What was that moment like for you?
It was the Broncos again, actually. Look, I think it was big for the club because I think we went through a period of being this transit lounge, and we had a really mixed recruitment through a period of time. Not a successful club. You know, when I came there, we were just cellar dwellers for a long period. It was a pretty, it was a hard place to kind of learn as well. I think we sort of went through a period of just trying to get mixed coaches through the gates, and then. I just ticked away some games, you know. I mean, I started off as a winger and a centre, so I probably should give those games back.
You're fine, mate. You're fine.
So, but Horry wasn't great about it, actually. So, Kevin Hastings, I remember going into it, he sort of said, look, mate, I played 226, but they were all starting games.
Oh, yeah.
Can we backtrack how many come off the bench, Luke? And I was like, mate, this is not up to me. And so we had to get a stats guy in there. And
It's a bit awkward.
He wasn't happy about the ones off the bench. So, but anyway, we
went on to 300.
we got past that pretty
I think you nailed it.
But also, you got to play for Australia. We know that, mate. You know, you represented wonderful. But also Ireland, too.
Correct.
That Irish background, you know.
What was that like playing for
I
Ireland?
loved every bit of it. It was.
What's your link there?
So mum's maiden name O'Neill, so County Kilkenny. We got a phone call. So 2000 was the World Cup.
Yeah.
Missed out on the World Cup. David Barnhill was over at Leeds. His footy manager was the head of the Irish team, and he said, "Look, we need to get some Irish guys over." And myself, Kevin Campion.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, legend.
Danny Williams.
Oh, wow. He's a loose unit.
And myself, and we had a couple of Mick Withers and a couple of other guys that were sort of playing over there. And we had a great time. We got beaten by England in a semi-final, which would have played New Zealand to then go into the final. And just huge. And we with league, the rugby union guys sort of hang their hat on, playing in Paris and
that's right.
Italy and London
South
and
Africa,
we go to Campbelltown, Wollongong, and so
Auckland,
Parramatta,
Vegas next year.
But to go over on a tour like that and go in Europe and play was special. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, are you happy that the code is going to Vegas and the fact that the Roosters are part of it?
Yeah, I don't know the final outcome on it. I don't know what the league are trying to achieve. Right? It's one of those things that, I'm hoping it's a a 5-year journey.
Yeah, I think it is.
It is a
It is.
5
Okay,
year.
they've
It
locked
is
it away?
It is a 5 year, and the
Right.
focus is obviously, I believe, to lock in the old gaming sort of side of things and making
Yeah,
them
okay.
interested in our game as much as we're interested in their NFL. There's so much that
Sure.
goes the other way. So I think the more that they have there, but I got a feeling there's going to be 60-odd thousand there, 40,000. I know every person I know is either
I know.
going or planning to go. Like it could end up just this huge Australian, dumping
Junket.
into Vegas, which could be fantastic.
Triple Emma representing over there.
Well, I'm not sure
doing
if
our
this show will get the
absolute
goal.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll go, mate. I'll just stay home. I'll stay here.
Dale, you're a certainty, mate. You should call the game, I think.
Absolutely, you should be.
think
Yeah,
you should
we should be
chaperone
over
everyone.
there, and you should be a part of it for sure. But hey, Rico, thank you so
Hey,
much
mate.
for joining
No
us
worries.
in the Hero Highlight and Hardship. It's been a pleasure, and for a bloke who watched most of those games from seat 14DD at the SFS, I've still got that seat when they took it all down in my place now, and I sat there with my mate Hendo and watched every part of it, and you never gave less than 100%, and we loved you for it, and thanks for coming in today.
Thanks,
Awesome,
boys.
Rico.
Really
Cheers, mate.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you.